to Talkin Business. I'm Joe Catrambone, CEO of the Stewart Martin County Chamber of Commerce. And I'm honored today to have Brianna with me. Brianna represents a nonprofit that is very near and dear to my heart. It has to do with animals. So not specifically Mable's mission, which is a wonderful organization, but my charities go to nonprofits involved with animals. So I'm an animal person. I have a dog. I've had horses my whole life, and so it's again something near and dear to my heart. And thank you for doing what you do. So
Happy to help. Awesome.
yeah. So tell me how you came to Martin County.
So I moved to Martin County about 4.5 years ago from Northwest New Jersey, and I immediately started volunteering at animal shelters. It was absolutely my calling. I've been an animal rescuer. My family growing up has rescued animals, so I started doing that, and now I'm parking it here because now I have this rescue, and I do love it here.
So did you start Mabel's?
Yep.
You started it. See, I'm learning a lot today.
Yeah, so I started it last year, inspired by Mable. When I started volunteering at the Humane Society of the Treasure Coast, I came across this senior dog. She was decrepit. I mean, she had a really hard life. Like she was just in really bad shape, and I don't know. She just inspired me to, kind of give her a chance, and she absolutely changed my life. And now I just want to provide other people that opportunity, and kind of see what it's like to transform an animal and have an animal transform because of you. So that's what we do.
That's great.
Yeah.
So how do you end up with an animal? Does someone bring them to you? Do you find them?
Yeah. So we have a few programs. We have an advocacy program where we partner with different shelters and rescues to kind of sponsor their animals and promote them, senior dogs obviously specifically. And then we also actually have our own foster-based rescue where we save dogs off of local euthanasia lists. So we partner with Palm Beach County and Miami-Dade County, and we save dogs from being euthanized. We also take in local strays too, if we have capacity.
So you have a facility?
No, we're foster-based.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So all of your animals are foster-based?
Yep. So we find fosters, we find local people to help us and temporarily open up their hearts and their homes to these animals, and then we're able to pull them off of euthanasia lists and get them fully rehabilitated and vetted and ready for adoption. So then they go into an adoptive home, and then the cycle repeats.
Is your adoption rate really good?
Yeah. So we always get our dogs adopted. Sometimes it takes a week, and sometimes it takes 6 to 8 weeks, and it really just depends on the dog and what their needs are. So we don't post them for adoption until they're fully vetted. So if they're sick, we get that taken care of. We neuter and spay our dogs. So all of our dogs do get adopted, and we keep kind of a low capacity rate since we are really small. So until we get some dogs adopted, we kind of keep those spaces closed.
How do you find donor or foster homes?
Social media, mainly. We do a lot of sort of digital marketing in that aspect, and that's really how we get all those people to see us and really want to open up their homes and their hearts temporarily to help these dogs. And they are our lifeline. We couldn't do not even one single thing. We couldn't save one dog without our fosters and our donors.
Yeah. So is there any funding available to you other than, for instance, are there any government programs
Nope.
or nothing like that would provide you with funding?
Nope, we are 100% donation run, and we are a 501c3, so all those donations are tax exempt.
So most of your dogs that you get to foster are older?
So we do have specific programs for senior dogs, and then when we launched our foster-based rescue, we kind of tailor the program towards any dog that we can find a foster for, any dog we have the donations to save, and because they're all at risk and they're all really in need of any sort of help, we just open our doors, our metaphorical doors, our capacity to any of those dogs, any age. So our advocacy program is specific to senior dogs, but we open our foster-based rescue to all of them.
Do you have an agreement or a relationship with the Treasure Coast Humane Society?
Yes, so we're partners for our advocacy program, and we've actually pulled one of their dogs, their senior dogs that we were sponsoring, and put them in rescue with us to get them out of the shelter at the end of his life. So they're wonderful. That's where I started. That's where I started volunteering. That's where I met Mable. I have nothing but good things to say about them.
Yeah,
They're wonderful.
Frank Valenti has just done a wonderful job.
Yeah.
The prior to Frank, I mean, there was a lot of bad publicity and controversy with the Humane Society before Frank took it over and took it to heights that I don't think anybody expected he could. So,
Yeah.
what other do you do? Other animals or just dogs?
Just dogs.
Are there other people like you that do it, or are you out there by yourself?
For Mabel's mission. So
For the type of thing that you do, is there anybody else that does that?
a lot of different people, there's a lot of different rescues, foster-based rescues. Most rescues are foster-based. So there are other people that do it, and we do try to work together to try to save as many dogs as possible and lower that Florida euthanasia rate, which is really high, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
You mentioned Miami earlier, so you're there's no boundaries per se where an animal could come from or would come from.
So we take just from Florida, and we try to take it so we can only take a dog that we have the capacity for. So whether that's a local foster or a transporter. So we do have a few transporters down in Miami, and that shelter's just overrun and has a high euthanasia rate. So if there's a dog that we can save, we will save them from there. The way it works is rescues usually have to become rescue partners with the specific shelters. So we're rescue partners with Palm Beach, we're rescue partners with Miami-Dade, and we're working on Broward, but it's a process for all of them.
So there's actually an agency, a government agency. You have to be licensed
To rescue?
to do what you're doing.
Yeah, so we're a registered 501c3 nonprofit.
Okay, that's financial,
Right.
basically. Are there rules and regulations you have to follow, state regulations that you need to adhere to, or it's just saving dogs?
Saving dogs and kind of staying within those, the legalities within that specific shelter or within that specific county and stuff like that. So like Miami-Dade County requires a rescue to spay and neuter within 30 days. So we have to adhere to that and kind of thing. But I mean, as long as you take good care of your dogs and you fully vet them and provide them with a good home, you're doing a good thing. So it's usually good.
How many people do you have working with you?
So we're fully volunteer, and we have a team of about 4 total. So we're a really small team.
Where do you get your volunteers from, or how do you get your volunteers?
Luck, usually. So it's usually networking. So a girl that works with me for the rescue, I actually met her because she found this deaf pit bull puppy with severe Demodex mange tied up to a tree. And when I saw this dog, I was like, yes, let me save this dog. So that's how I got connected with her. So it was just by chance. It was luck, And then now she helps me run the rescue. So
You know Angela in my office, Angela Huffman.
no,
She's
not specifically.
she I don't know. It's probably a year or so ago. She and her family were up in, I think it was in Ocala,
Okay.
and here comes this little female pit
Oh.
prancing into their camp or wherever they were. Well, her name's Luna, and she's Angela's dog.
I bet.
And, so I bring Max to work with me every day, and Angela brings Luna 1 or 2 days a week, and she's a puppy. He's 15 years old. She wants to play.
And he's like, no.
He tries to ignore her, but she's got what a personality she's got. And I think I mentioned to you, I've had pit bulls my whole life, and they're just a wonderful, sweet breed of a dog, but they have a terrible reputation.
Yeah.
But as we discussed before, and I've said forever, it's how they're raised.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know this for a fact, but I would imagine that there are other dogs that bite or have a tendency to bite people, like a shepherd, more of a tendency than a pit bull. I think that, and the difference between, and I'm preaching to the choir, I know, but a lot of people don't know, the difference between a German shepherd or a poodle and a pit bull is the power of their jaw. And a pit bull is they're bred not to let go. Where another dog will bite you and let go, where a pit bull grabs you and hangs on.
Yeah, so it definitely has to do everything with the person who's raising the dog and not really necessarily the dog. So I think it was the American Temperament Society tested a bunch of dog breeds on their temperament and kind of like the kindness of the actual dog breed himself. And the pit bulls were like the third nicest, the third kindest, most best temperament dog actually tested. Like the breed itself is a wonderful dog. I mean, they are, as you know, they're goofy and they're loving and they're cuddly and they're Velcro dogs, you know, they're always with you and they're
They don't leave your side.
yeah, they're wonderful dogs. Now the problem isn't the pit bull at all. It's the people who raise the dog. You know, when you have a person taking a dog and teaching it to fight and teaching it to go after people and other dogs and abusing the dog, which is like it disproportionately affects pit bulls, which is it's so upsetting. Those specific dogs, not the breed himself, but the dogs that they're doing it to, those are the ones that have the problems. Those are the ones that have incidents and bite and attack. So it's not the breed at all. Scientifically, it's not the breed at all. It's literally the people.
It isn't as prevalent, at least we don't hear about it, as it was some years ago where they would actually have fights.
Yeah.
Pit bull fights, and people would bet on them. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, I haven't heard of that in quite a long time. But that was so
Yeah.
inhumane
Yeah.
and illegal.
Yep.
And you know, a lot of people, my brother-in-law for one, he had pit bulls because he hunts dogs.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't teach them to bite people. It's
a working dog.
It's a natural instinct for them. For a pit bull to run up and grab a hog by the nose or by the ear, put it down to the ground, and it's a natural instinct for them. But these rednecks would take and go over the line and have the dogs fight each other, and they had obviously cared nothing for the dog, because the dog, even if the dog won, it was severely injured.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, so.
And there's a lot of collateral. And actually, bait dogs and fighting dogs are still very prevalent, like in South Florida.
They are, really?
Miami-Dade County. The dogs that we see come into that shelter that are automatically placed on like a euthanasia list, for example, for like injuries sustained as being a bait dog or a fight dog or something, we see it all the time. And it is so sad. It is so sad seeing this dog that is good-natured and loving just be absolutely let down by humans, like time and time again. But
Yeah.
it does still happen, unfortunately.
Well, I'm glad I don't hear about it.
I
like
know.
used to.
That's the hardest.
Especially I had pit bulls. So,
I
you
know.
it was like, and people who don't know, especially not everybody understands or even likes dogs.
Yeah.
And so for that crowd of people that don't get it, they hear pit bull and it's put them down, euthanize
Yeah.
them. Don't bring them in my house. You have a pit bull, I'm not coming to your house. I actually had people tell me
I
that.
know. So do we. We get it all the time.
So, hey, that's your choice. You don't want to come? Don't
I
come.
know.
You know?
I get it. It's tough. And the hardest part of rescue work, I mean, of course, seeing the dogs in this sort of situation is like absolutely heartbreaking. It's so hard. But the hardest part of rescue work is like constantly being let down by people, is seeing those people who have the capacity, have the ability and the free will to like treat animals with kindness and kind of be the voice of the voiceless, just constantly letting them down.
You know, I couldn't, I just can't foster a dog because I won't give it back.
I know my parents are like that. Every time they foster a dog, they adopt him.
So I have a nephew and a niece that foster dogs, and mostly pit bulls. And so they brought in two, maybe 6 months ago, and they were brothers. And they were going to foster these two. Well, one of them stayed. They found a home for the other one, and I couldn't give it back.
I know, it's hard.
Yeah, and I'm in a situation where I live by myself with the dog, and I can't handle two dogs. I take them to work with me every day. My staff, my board, and everyone loves them and tolerates them, but I don't know, be bringing two dogs to work every day.
Two's better than one.
And it's an expense.
It is.
Is there anything in the charitable world that helps people that, for instance, has a dog and they can't afford to take it to a vet? Is there any?
So different shelters have different programs that kind of help the residents of the county or the town or wherever the shelter itself is kind of keep their dogs. So they're offering like low cost vet care and lower cost food and stuff like that. Because I mean, at the end of the day, like people in the rescue world and people who work in shelters, like our goal is to help people who can take care of their dogs, help people keep their dogs. So we try our best to kind of give people the resources to like allow that to happen. So there's a few low cost spay and neuter clinics and like that does vetting as well, so like that. But there are foster program and a lot of foster programs for a lot of different rescues. The rescues actually provide everything for the foster home, so we'll pay for the veterinary care and we'll pay for the food and we'll pay for a bed and a leash and kind of all that stuff to take care of the dog. So there's actually no cost to like a foster, for example.
Yeah, I know. The dog that, and I can't remember his name. Shame on me. The dog that my niece and nephew kept, they had a $3,500 vet bill. So,
It's expensive.
yeah,
It's really expensive.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're kind of winding down, and is there anything that we missed that you want people to know? Tell me about your funding. How do you let's talk about funding for a
Okay.
second before we go there.
Yeah.
How do you get your funding?
So there's a few ways. So we do community sort of little fundraisers. So we'll host bake sales and we'll go to give back events like Ocean Republic Brewing is in Stewart, and they have been absolutely phenomenal in letting us take part in their yappy hours. So they'll give us, some money back and hosting our bake sales there. And 3 Natives on Southeast Ocean in Stewart is also wonderful, so they let us kind of host bake sales there. So getting involved in the community, that's a big thing for me. I absolutely just love this community and love being a part of the community. So getting out that way is a way we raise money, and we also raise money through online donations, so kind of sharing our story and asking people for help, and also pledges. So a lot of these county shelters or like Miami-Dade or Palm Beach County, people will pledge to a rescue to save a dog. So some dogs come with, a couple $100s in pledges, and it allows us to kind of buffer some of that vet bill. So we had a dog we saved from Miami-Dade. His name's Ziggy. He's a terrier mix. He is a wonderful and such a cute little dog. Not little, he's 55 pounds. He's not little. But he was really sick with an upper respiratory infection and lymphedema in his front wrist, his front paws, so really swollen. He couldn't really walk, and he was about to be euthanized. And he also was really close to not making it because he was really sick, but he had like $1,500 in pledges, and our vet bill for him was over $2,000. So having those people pledge and then donate the money is literally why we were able to save that dog, because people saw kind of his worth and said, listen, I'm going to pledge $50 to the rescue. I'm going to pledge $200 to the rescue. I'm going to pledge $150 to the rescue, whatever it is, and then they donate to us after we pull.
What percentage of your funds come from those types of pledges?
The pledges?
Online.
So it depends on how many dogs we save in a month. So when we do our financial breakdown every month, it really depends. So if we pull 4 dogs off of euthanasia lists in 1 month, our percentage of donations that come in through pledges will be much higher than if we only pull one dog. So it really just depends, but all those pledges always end up going to the dog anyway, so it kind of does even itself out. I would say probably about 35 to 40%, maybe 30 to 35% of our online donations come from pledges.
How about, where does the rest come from?
Online donations and kind of in-person stuff. So it depends. Depends on how many events we have in a month and kind of all those things.
So obviously you're a member of the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Are you networking at the chamber?
Sometimes. So early on, definitely, and then rescue were kind of ramped up, but the chamber offers a really good opportunity for people to network and kind of get the name out there and on social media and in person for networking events.
As I said earlier, you do something that's near and dear to my heart. Come in and talk to me. Maybe we can come up with some ideas.
I appreciate it. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah. So now I'm going to ask you, did we miss anything?
Let me think. So I guess I just want to kind of urge people to get involved, kind of be the voice of the voiceless and help us save those dogs because, you know, fostering is a temporary commitment and everything is fully funded and you're just really giving this dog an opportunity to be saved. Without fosters and without donors, these dogs will not make it. We cannot save dogs without you, without the members of the community, without the people who open up their hearts and their homes. So if you want to get involved and you do have the space and you do have the time to temporarily open up your home, please consider fostering. It's life-changing, and I promise seeing a dog transform will literally change your life. So I just want to urge everyone to do that because it's really amazing. It really is.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.